Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another edition of Track Walk in MX Simulator, where today we're going to be doing a bit of a throwback track, kind of one that I feel like nobody new to the game would remember this track or know anything about it or know anything about this particular race that happened back in the day, but it has some historical implications for me, I guess, and a little bit some of the bigger names in the community that you may or may not have heard of over the years. So I figured I should, I was digging back through the forums, let's say, and I wanted to look at some of the older tracks and see if there's some stuff that I missed for Track Walk as we get closer to episode 200 of Track Walk. And I have a couple ideas for things I'm going to do then, but I came across a couple tracks that I did want to actually do that I know many people probably have never heard of or seen before. You know, the channel was created in late 2014, and this is from 2013, so this was a whole year before we created Start Your System, so I never got around to doing a track walk on something like this. But long story short, this track is called the 2013 SX Shootout Night 2, and essentially what this is like the EVS Supercross Open back in the day used to be this kind of like big event that pretty much every MX Simulator top dog would come and race. It was like the big off-season race. There's prizes up for grabs. I think there's actually cash prizes up for grabs for this one particularly. And I know this isn't exactly the EVS Supercross Open. That happened in 2010 and 2011. But found some of these old tracks, like I said, and this one, to me, has some like fairly significant historical implications, I guess I should say. The 2012 EVS SX Open, I finished, I think, 6th that night. And in a head-to-head race that we were doing, like there's bracket head-to-head races, I actually straight up beat Tyson Fresquez in one of those races to get the head-to-head crown. So 2012 race is great, but 2013 I was feeling like that was going to be a year where I could, you know, going into 2014 I could contend, because I used to actually be pretty good at this game, and I used to be able to battle with some of the greats in this game for race victories and some stuff like that. I've always been significantly worse at Supercross, to be honest, than I was ever outdoors. Like outdoors I could be consistent top 10 guy. Supercross I was hit and miss between a top 5 guy and a guy that straight up missed the main event. But this was a different, I think, story. Like the first night of the SX Open, or the SX Shootout this year, I think I finished somewhere inside of the top 5 or 6th again or something like that, and I was feeling like I still had a shot to win it because I got a good first night score. So coming into this night, I was like, well, if I can just get a good start and maybe do something decent, it would be, you know, at least a chance to try to win this event. And I remember it very, very vividly, and I actually will link a YouTube video in the description below that details the incident I'm about to talk about. But I'd actually got a pretty good start, and this was the very first time that Alexis Leclerc had competed in the SX Open, because he was really new to the game in 2013. Really just did some outdoor racing in 2013, but more or less was, you know, getting into the swing of racing the Race Factor Gaming competitions and stuff like that, and still was very, you know, the same Leclerc we know today, very fast and crazy, you know, good speed and stuff like that, and really good at starts, but he was far less consistent back in these days. And I think all of us back then kind of knew, like, his MO, if you will, that he would whole shot us all, and at some point we'd probably catch and pass him just because he would start crashing and do some weird things. So that's exactly what happened. Like the first night, I think he even crashed his way back to 10th or something like that after whole shotting, but then the second night, whole shot, and he was in the lead. And I remember it was like lap 4 or 5 or something into the race, and I just moved into 3rd. And Byron Downen, who eventually won the 2014 Supercross championship, was in 2nd behind Leclerc, and I could see them up ahead of me, and I was trying to kind of track them and see if I was gaining time in any specific areas or if I was just straight up losing time, because they were both, you know, pretty fast comparatively to me at the time. And coming up to the very top of this section up here, I just was following them. They went through this roller section, and then they came down this hill before the triple, and I saw that they were getting pretty close together. And from what I remember, the way it turned out was Byron had gotten to the inside on this Supercross triple and was about to make a block pass on Leclerc, and Leclerc was on the far left side of the track, and he did a pretty hard cross jump to try to defend the inside, and because there was some French lag, it put Byron down. But I saw it all happen right in front of me. So Leclerc, he slid to this section of the track right here, got up, and immediately like kind of veered to this side of the track because he was like just getting up from a crash. And I saw this and I'm like, this is my opportunity to try to take the lead. So I came up the left side of the track, and Leclerc just hard left over to this side of the track to block me coming. So I had to get on the brakes, and then coming into this corner, I was just sick of it. Like Leclerc had done it so many times where he just kind of blocked past us really stupidly, or cross jumped us in the case that he did with Byron, and then kind of crossed the straightaway in front of me. So I lit him up in this corner. This is like the moment that I think Leclerc and my rivalry started. I came into the inside of that corner and just pretty much center punched him off the corner because I was tired of it. I just saw him cross jump Byron, and he just like crossed the straightaway in front of me. And so sometimes, you'll hear me broadcasting these days when I say like, well, Leclerc and I have a history, but I still respect how well he's gotten at the game and the things that he's accomplished and stuff like that, which I do. I mean, the things that he's done in this game is tremendous, and he's been a huge, advocate, I guess, of the game to show what it's capable of, and obviously being a foreign rider to all of us Americans that usually play it, it's really cool to see like the foreign flavor that he always adds to the series as well. But at that time, he was still kind of a newcomer, and I think a lot of us were like skeptical of his ability to take it to us because we'd seen a lot of really fast guys come in and out of the game pretty quickly in succession before that. But yeah, he just, back then, it just always grinded my gears the way that he chose to race us. It wasn't always me, it was other people as well. And I'm sure you could ask some of the people that raced this race back then, like Byron or Zach Dupuis or Tyson Fresquez or other people like that. And Leclerc was tough to deal with on the racetrack. Like, he never really gave you the inches that you were trying to give other people out around you on the track. And so yeah, that's a bit of a historical background to this SX Shootout Night 2 round. I lit up Leclerc in that corner. Now, it didn't work out for me very much at all. Like I said, there's a link in the description below to watch the video because Leclerc uploaded on his channel. But what happened after that is I took the lead for about one straightaway, and then I think I tipped over coming into the next corner or something like that, and Byron, who had gotten up from his crash already, took the lead. He went up on to win the event, and I was like so flustered by the event that I think I dropped somewhere back inside of the top 10 somewhere or something like that, so I kind of blew my chance at winning, and I was already pissed off at myself enough for that. But the hell rained down on me after that, because this event was ran by EMF back then. It was the first time that EMF was taking on like a really big like cross promotional event, I guess, on some level, because Race Factory was always running the big stuff back then and EMF was running the European side, obviously, but this was their first like dive into running a big event that Americans would also race as well. So after the race was over, I think Leclerc yelled at me in chat or something. He just started swearing and all that, which I got. Like, I mean, I lit him up. I get it. Like, I'm not going to sit there and say that, he shouldn't be mad about it. But what was, like, kind of annoying for me afterwards was the founder or whatever of EMF, who's known as Niobe or Johan Mayer, hit me up on, I think at the time, this was, like, way back on AOL Instant Messenger that we were still using. And he just like was immediately defending Leclerc, like saying, that you're a dirty punk, basically. I can't believe that you did that. We're thinking of like banning you from the event, which was already over, so it didn't really matter. But I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I mean, yeah, I get that what I did was probably a little dirty or whatever, but it was on the racetrack. And did you see what Leclerc had just done before that? Like, I felt like I was a little justified because of the way that he had tried to block me, and he was having none of it, and it just turned into a whole thing. And I don't regret the takeout maneuver that I did that night, because at the time I felt like he was unjustly racing us, and I didn't want it to spill into a situation where everybody was getting the same treatment from Leclerc because he thought he owned the racetrack. I felt like he was overriding us to an extent. So I felt like it was needed at the time, and I wish that I would have stayed up and gone on to maybe contend for the win of that race that night, but it is what it is. And yeah, a little bit of a background story to this track here and the race that was ran on it way back then. It is a track created by Barrington and SMR 510, who've been making or had made tracks for years in the game, so it's got a lot of the same features that you normally expect to see from Barrington tracks. But one thing about this track that definitely sticks out to newer tracks that you may play is the traction is quite slippery. That is just as standard as it gets for any track pre-2015-ish, honestly. Like even 2014 Race Factor Gaming tracks, when they took over building the tracks from JLV, they were still pretty slick. And that was obviously to slow the pace down for 450s, which could jump everything and anything. Because they built this track, I think, 1 to 1.5 or something like that. Or 1.15, not 1.5. So 1 to 1.15 is, I think, the scale that they built for this. And it was still ridiculously easy to do some of the big lines, as you see. Like, I can jump from these tables and stuff like that. But you got to try to slow the 450 down at some pace. And so that was their solution, was kind of stifle the traction, make it slipperier, which personally I always liked. I felt like I gelled better with the slick traction a little bit more. The concrete traction these days means that everybody's corner speed is unrealistic and insane, and you know, the jumps are huge and they're kind of hard to clear and stuff like that, whereas these tracks back then were kind of the reason why I wanted to go back and play it today. A newcomer to the game, I feel like, could pick this up and do pretty much every line I'm doing in this video. They're not the easiest lines to hit, but you could definitely get the speed to do them because they're not massively huge to hit. And I felt like the track builders back then did a really good job of building stuff like that was challenging to get, no less, but it was easier to kind of pop things and you could still do the lines consistently and stuff like that. So I quite like this track. I like the EVSX SX Open tracks from 2012 as well. Checkers had built those tracks, and I may do those for a track walk someday. But this one, Night 2. I also like Night 1. Night 1 on this SX Shootout thing was awesome. And this is how it was, too. It was a 2-night event. You qualified before it to get into the 2 races. And then, yeah, like it was essentially your Bursey or whatever every year that we had in-game. And they were a ton of fun. The night before, the first night, Jeremy Hinters, who we were pretty much brand new teammates on this Barry team at the time, in the 250 main event, he was running in like 6th or something like that, and he Devin Davis came from the other side of the track and cleaned him out and then put a bunch of expletives in chat. We were so confused what it was about, but I think Devin had thought he was going across the track to light up Ludwig Botten, who I guess he'd gotten into an altercation with. So Devin went backwards across the track and nailed Hinters in the opposite direction on Night 1 and disconnected from the server, and then did not race Night 2 because I think even if he wanted to, he probably got kicked or something for going backwards on the track. But just, I don't know, there's so many memories that I have from these races and being a part of the pro scene that not many of you guys, I think, that watch the channel know about these days or anything like that. I was once pretty good at sim. I once was battling Leclerc and Byron Downen, who won the championship that next year for race wins. Was I good enough, I think, to beat them in championships or races? Obviously not, because I never did win a race in Supercross. Won a motocross race and beat Leclerc and Tyson and Zach Dupuis and all them. But yeah, that's my little story, and I'm sticking to it. But like I said, head to the description below and check out the takeout maneuver that now lives in infamy on Alexis Leclerc's YouTube channel. I came across it a few months ago now, I guess, and I was actually talking to my boss, Jason Wygant, and my coworker, Mitch Kendra, at the time about how I once was pretty good at this game and competed on the pro scene for several years. And I said that I wasn't always the cleanest rider, and used that video as an example, and they ate it up. They thought it was hilarious that I was a dirty rider at some point in this game, because I feel like most people that know me, or even who, if you're a fan of the channel, I would have to believe to some extent you think I'm a pretty decent guy, I hope. Like, I hope you don't think I'm like a complete jagoff of any kind. And to know that I was once somebody that would just straight up T-bone someone off the track in this game, like, I guess that just goes to show that everybody has their moments where they're just completely frustrated. So that's why even today, when I see people that are just, you know, T-boning people or lighting someone up for a pass on a broadcast, I'm like, hey, I get it. I was in that situation once too, where, you know, just the slightest little thing could definitely tick you off and make you be like, why did that person do that? Gosh, I just want to, you know, punt them into the next week and stuff like that. And yeah, this night, back in 2013. It was in, I think it was in October or something like that. Sometime in October 2013, I was battling for the lead in this race and punted Alexis Leclerc off the track. So fun fact, me and Leclerc have a long history, but I think we're okay now. I mean, I guess, you know, me just completely crapping on his race prowess from back then, he may watch this video and think that I'm a complete idiot again, which is fair because I'm bringing up the old stuff that we used to have happen. But like I said, I definitely respect him nowadays and think that what he's accomplished in the game is incredible, and obviously he's one of the greatest ever to play this game. And so yeah, I you know, no hard feelings from this night anymore. Just reliving a little bit of old history. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, a little bit of like a trip down memory lane track walk on a pretty fun track that I would recommend. It is in the thread when you guys click on this, by the way. There is a password, so you'll need to put the password in, I believe. But night one also doesn't work for some reason. So Byron, if you watch this for whatever reason, your link for night one is broken. And try it out, you know, try to see how different the tracks are now, how different Supercross tracks are built. Because, you know, Barrington, he did build the Supercross tracks in the series for several years. He doesn't do it really anymore, I don't believe. I think it goes to some more of the newer Race Factory guys. But Barrington was the guy doing it for years. I think even if you go back to like 2018 Supercross, you can see how different his tracks are then compared to this track from 2013. And it's crazy, man. The game is in some ways progressed a lot, and I think in other ways, like, they've taken a couple steps back with track building and stuff like that. Obviously they have to do some different stuff with the road now, but I kind of miss these smaller, tighter tracks, and I really miss these unique tracks. Like, this is one of the cooler things every year that we did, having these custom tracks that we really got everybody to race on. There was also the Winter Indoor Series and stuff like that that we got quite a few people to race on, but usually this one was just that much more special because there was a lot of good prizes up for grabs. And, you know, Checkers or Barrington or whoever built the track went all out with their ideas and things that they put together. So really, really fun nights. And, yeah, memory lane. Little trip into the past video here with Kellen here on Stereo Systems. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As always, like, subscribe, comment, etc. Download in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.